Hello, this is Taslon. I am in Malinovka West for the Lighthouse's After Action Report Volume 9. On my YouTube channel, Hans requested that I do one with the Auf Panther, so I broke the Auf Panther out for a couple missions tonight. This is the third mission that I ran on it. And let me talk about my crew here, because it's not like one of my normal crews. When I came back from playing Archage about a month and a half ago, I bought a bunch of the new lights. And at the time, my Auf Panther had a crew that was working on its 5th skill. I transferred them over to my RU-251. And then I went into my barracks and found the leftovers of long gone tanks that I had sold and shifted the crews to the barracks. So right now, my driver is working on his 4th skill. My radio operator is working on his 4th skill. My loader is 99% of his 1st skill, which is camo. My gunner is 90% of his 1st skill, again camo. And my commander is a mere 50% of his 1st skill, which is also camo. So I don't have 6th Sense. I don't have 100% camo, basically on 2 out of my 5 crew members, because 99% is pretty much there. And I'm in a tank that a lot of people hate because they say it's too big to play as a scout. But I'm going to go and passive spot on it. And I'm going to do well. No matter what tank you play, the following thing applies. But especially in the Auf Panther, when you're scouting in it, you have to know your maps. You have to know what bushes you can use and what bushes you can't. This is a big scout. For example, the Redshire bush. When you're Redshire North, everybody likes to go to that one bush there in the middle that has the 2 trees sticking up out of it, right by the houses. It's a challenge to use that bush in Auf Panther because the cupula is so high it sticks out over top the bushes, and tanks that move up on the middle hill can spot you. And so when you go there, you usually don't like what happens. I know it, so I rarely go there in this tank. But I also know a bush on this map from this spawn that I can use quite effectively, and it's going to totally hide me unless the enemy comes in on me from the rear. So I'm going to passive spot here. And I'm going to be very good. The Auf Panther, if you play it like a pure scout, you're going to hate it. You're going to hate the grind, and as soon as you humanly can, you are going to get rid of it and never play it again and move on to the next tank. But if you play it to its strengths, you'll discover that it's a very nice tank and capable of very good missions. It has excellent view range. It has a good rate of fire. If you use AP, it has decent pen, but if you use premium ammo, it has the best penetration of every scout in its class. And you combine all those 3 together, and it screams sniper at you. And so I have mine built to be a spotter sniper. I have on binoculars. I don't run optics with it. I run binoculars because I'm going to be more effective at range spotting and sniping than I am active spotting. I'm no good at active spotting. I'm as big as a barn. I don't survive doing that, so I have it built to accentuate its strengths. And I'm going to play it that way, and I'm going to have a good mission. In this battle, they have a lot of heavies on the enemy team. 3 mediums, 3 scouts, 1 TD, and no artillery. We have more mediums than they do. So we're more mobile, and they are better brawlers. We also have some decent players on this team, if you believe the numbers. So I'm counting on the fact that if I spot tanks, there's going to be people around to shoot what I see. So here we go. And there's also going to be a great study of contrast later with how the MT-25 handles running in on the enemy and how I do it. So the film's also a great case study of how to use terrain to mask your movement and what happens if you don't. Here we go up into the bush. It's high enough to hide me. And you'll have a great demonstration of that in just a little bit. I start off passive spotting. As the enemy starts moving around, I start lighting them up. Look at the ELC right now. He's going to run down the edge of the swamp. He can't see me. My big old scout is invisible to him. I don't really care about him. As long as he stays over there, he's lit up. I'm not. I win that now. Look at the Auf Panther over there. He's moving into the bush in F7. One of the good spotting bushes in World of Tanks. But I beat him to this bush. Every time he pulls up, I see him. And he apparently does have sixth sense because he backs back out. So now not only am I providing passive spots for my team, I'm providing vision control. I'm keeping their scout from moving into a really good spotting location. So I'm performing dual rules, which greatly increases my effectiveness. I'm getting spots, I'm keeping them from getting spots. MT-25, don't know why he's there. He's going to end up going away. He's dead. 2 out of the 3 scouts are dead now. Good start. Looking at my deployment, because I like to keep track of things like that. We have a decent force up on the hill already. We have a good little group in the middle. And we have tanks down south. So we have a really good deployment and everything's really shaping up. Now look at the TD and the Panther over there in F89. Important to note things like that. Make a mental note of it and remain aware of what it means. It means if I run across the middle, I'm going to have people sniping me from my flank. Now watch the MT-25 coming down the road here. He apparently isn't paying attention or doesn't understand what those tanks right there mean to him. He's going to come all the way down, coming down the road so he can go fast. And he's going to cut and go right across the middle of the field. There is no way he can do this without being spotted by the tanks over there in the buildings. And as soon as he's spotted, he also becomes vulnerable to fire from that TD and Panther sitting up there in F89. So guess what happens to him? He survives long enough to provide some spots. And I think we get 1 kill out of it, but then he dies. I'm watching him go, wondering how long he's going to stay alive. Oh, look, the Auf Panther's up there too. You know what that means? I'm free to fire. I can snipe without being seen because there's nobody close enough to see me. So I help take that guy out. The MT-25 sees those tanks up there. He doesn't have anywhere to go and hide. He's basically turned it into a suicide run. Now watch how I handle this. We have a lead right now, 6-1. So maybe we aren't going to care if the MT-25 died suiciding or not. But what if it ends up being a close fight? The fact that he died needlessly could come back to haunt us. I know those tanks are there in the middle. So I'm going to move down here, use this little valley right here along the swamp to mask my approach. Haven't been seen. I know the tanks are up there. I also know there's bushes right here that I can duck into. And I'm not in a bush, but I'm using them for concealment because they're blocking vision between where the enemy is and where I'm at. Now I'm transitioning into the role of a sniper. I'm getting off shot after shot, and they cannot see me. First on the Auf P, now on the Panther, there's a T-29 that's about to die because I can shoot him too. Here he goes. Back to the Panther. Panther's dead. We have a 10-2 lead right now. I'm going to come up here and just go mano a mano on the Auf Panther because he's down below 2/3 damage. I'm full health. Nobody's even seen me yet. In my easy to see, people hate this tank scout. We already have the game won. I'm just going to come up here and engage him in a battle of attrition. I can trade him 1-to-1 on hit points and come out the winner by easy margin. Now watch, he's going to ram me. He has no hit points left and he's going to ram me. Somebody else gets the kill, but that doesn't matter. I got most of the damage. And now I'm going to go up the hill and help the heavies. KV3's almost dead. He's going to die here shortly. Goodbye. T32 is left. We got our southern force moving in on those tanks to the south. Don't have to worry about them. This guy's going to go down over that terrace, so I'm going to pull up. The 5100's engaged him. The Type 58's moving in. I'm going to come up here and flank the guy. I have enough hit points left that he's not going to one-shot me. So if he decides to shoot at me, that's fine. 3 of us on him, he's dead before I die. And there's a good chance he's not going to fire at me at all, because he's already paying attention to other guys. So I'll come in behind him. I get a good track. I wasn't trying to track him, but he tracked, so that's cool. And he's just focused on that Type 58, so I'm going to get the kill. Game over. 15-5. Blowout. I end up with the most kills on my team. I end up easily with the most passive spots and passive spotting damage, and all this in a tank that's too big to spot. Not true. Know your terrain. Know your bushes, know where you can hide and where you can't. Now, admittedly, there's not many bushes in the game that can hide an Auf Panther as well as that one does. At the same time, you don't need bushes that are that big. You just need bushes that can block line of sight to your front. In most of the places you passive spot from, at least in the beginning stages of the fight, you don't need to worry about getting seen from the side. Like this bush let me hide from the ELC. There's only a few maps where the enemies can advance on you like that. There's a lot of bushes out there that this tank can take advantage of, and you don't even need a bush. Maps like El Halaf, you can sit out in the open and open passive. Just rely on your view range, and in my case binoculars, to give you a great enough view range that you don't even need a bush at all. You just outview them. And then when the time comes, you transition into a sniper. You saw the difference between what the MT-25 did and I did. He didn't understand the significance of that 152 in Panther showing up in F89. He went rushing right across the middle, got himself in a crossfire, and that forced him to just go suicide. Whether he wanted the suicide or not, it became a suicide mission because he didn't pay attention to what his situational awareness should have told him. On the other hand, I saw the tanks, recognized the danger, and I approached the enemy in a way that kept me out of sight until I chose to expose myself. By that time the battle was over and I could just duke it out one-on-one with the Auf Panther. Really, it wasn't one-on-one because somebody else was helping fight too. But even if it had been one-on-one, we could have traded hit points evenly and I would have been the victor in that little battle. And then up the hill to help with the last 2 heavies up there. It has a bad reputation because people try to play it like a pure scout, and it isn't. It's a scout sniper hybrid. There's some maps where you can't do it. No matter what your tank's good at, there's at least a few maps where you can't really play it that way. It's just the way World of Tanks is. It makes the game fun because you can't always play your tank ideally the way it should be played. You have to be inventive on some maps and just make do. This is a map where it excels on. There's a lot of maps where it can do the same kind of thing. Spotter, sniper, hybrid for the battle. I had 2031 XP. It was an ace mission. 6 spots, 3,361 spotting damage, 3 kills, 2,324 damage. Once again, from a tank that everybody hates because it can't scout. It can spot. It can be good at it, but you have to do it the way it wants to play, not the way you think it should be played. From Malinovka West. In my Auf Panther remaining hidden until I decided it was time to expose myself. Happy hunting.